For rule of law in southern Sudan, yes, there are still problems. As you correctly said, that there are militias being armed and sent in. And you know, during the war, almost the population of southern Sudan got arms in one way or the other. And they have not been disarmed. It will take time for us to disarm everybody, and so that the law enforcement agencies are left with the authority to enforce the law and order. For now, it is rather difficult. But we are trying hard to stop all these skirmishes that are happening, because the cattle wrestling is there, and there is no way that you can stop that until you make ready for such a thing. There are tribes that will need forceful disarmament, because we have already given them the information that anybody that will hand over his rifle voluntarily will have some incentives that will be given to him. Up to a certain period, if they refuse to hand in their weapons, we will be obliged to go in by force. And that will mean a bloody confrontation. And we will be ready for it if that becomes the only option to get rid of the guns in the hands of the illegal, unauthorized people. We have also another problem, that there are tribes across the borders that are also armed. You have Turkana in Kenya. If you disarm the Taposa inside Sudan, tomorrow the Turkana will invade the Taposa to get their cattle. The same thing with the Didinga and Lotuka, with the Kormajong inside Uganda. So it is a very complicated situation that needs the two parties to act together. If we want to disarm the Taposa, the Kenyan government must also commit itself to the disarmament of the Turkana, and the same thing with the Ugandans, and then also at the borders with Ethiopia. So this is how we look at things. Any other armed groups, of course, I have explained it. Development in southern Sudan is going, but it is going very slowly. It needs one to go back to the area, so that you go and see by yourself. Is there anything happening? Is there nothing happening? And all that. So you will be convinced when you go to where you were born and see whether there is something going on or there is nothing. This is about the development. But the resources are so limited that nothing can be seen overnight. Expectations of our people after the peace agreement were so high that they thought heaven will just come on earth overnight. But this is not true. People will have to wait until when things are put together and development is made. In actual fact, we have declared our policy of non-tolerance to the corruption, and we are fighting it very hard. We have formed an anti-corruption commission that would be actually monitoring all the assets of the government, and so that anybody, a minister of anybody in any position in the government of Southern Sudan, found to have misused any public assets must be brought to books. This is the war we are fighting, and I think you have heard of dismissal of some very important ministers. And they are now under investigation so that they are taken to court. I don't think that there is a return from combating the corruption, because if that thing is allowed, Southern Sudan will never grow. Will remain in the edges of the war and will never come out of that. And so our determination to fight the corruption is there, and I thought it would be one thing that have rose your that would make you ask. And this animal called corruption has overgrown in Africa. What is the color of corruption? How do you define the color of corruption? Has it any color? Or has it any shape? It is a monster, something so big that even can swallow this building that we are in. And so it is not really confined to the SPLA. Yes, there must be corrupt elements in the government of Southern Sudan. And these elements must be weeded out. And this is what we are trying to do now, so that we have a clean system. And we have, I'm sorry I did not bring it, we have something written, corruption-free country. Yes, that's it. Anybody have ever seen that? It is something that has been made by the Anti-Corruption Commission. Yes, corruption-free country. It is a slogan that we have raised in the government of Southern Sudan, and so that we have to fight, all of us, to fight against corruption. This is, I can now give it to you.
Thank you. We have some similar issues ourselves right now, so I appreciate that. Great. Mr. President, I want to thank you so much for your presence here today. I know there are many more questions. I've already received many that we just don't have time for you to field directly, but I know that you've opened up our own reflections about this very difficult and challenging peace process. We certainly wish you well as you go forward, and then have been